party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh! We got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else!
We don't want to know!
We're dedicated, yes,
To all beverage shows!
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad!
Scary dog!
Vincent at Blurnsville!
Futurama!
Happy Friday! It's your mandated reporter, and frankly, he's mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is TV Party Tonight. Tonight, our favorite show. Let me tell you, folks, if anyone ever says, Mark Radulich, what a dictator, he always tells us what he wants us to watch, we never get to pick anything. It shows like tonight that's the reason why. Quality control, ladies and gentlemen. We must maintain order at the Radulich Broadcasting Network. But the leader, the high command of the hoi polloi, the protocol son, Jason Tzley, has twisted my arm and made me, because apparently his favorite show is, hold on to your hats, the VelociPastor. You know, like Velociraptor? Your lord and spiritual advisor, your pastor? Well, push them together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an Uncrustable, if you will, and you get VelociPastor. So, ladies and gentlemen, this show is brought to you by Fugu Horchata Cold Brew Cocktail. I may be on chemo and immunotherapy, but fuck it, we're getting drunk tonight.
You can refer to me as Frankie Mermaid.
Because you're swimming in bitches?
That's exactly right.
I actually got a kick out of that line.
Oh, God.
All right, Jason.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Welcome to the show,
I'm
first of all.
I'm glad to be back. It's been a while since me and you've done a podcast together. I guess the prodigal son has returned. It feels good sitting and talking to you. Feels like it's been. I think the last time we've done a podcast together was the lovely sci-fi.
Yeah, you seem
adventure.
You seem to be my guy to go to for the B movie fair, which is fine. Look, I am a fan of the Roger Corman classics. I enjoy a good B movie, but Jason,
no, this can't be put on me. This cannot be put on me. This was suggested by the OG Jesse Starcher.
Oh, really?
That I had to watch this. He put it on my radar.
Oh, I have to blame Jesse for this? Okay.
So he was like, it's just, he said, I don't know how to describe it. And he sent me the trailer. And I seen the trailer. And I said, this looks horrible. I could totally dig this.
Look.
Oh, I must apologize for me. I mean, I know how you feel when it's Robert giving you a hard time for watching shows. Cause oh my God, this wasn't bad. This was horrific. It was interesting. It was very cheesy, and it had a dinosaur, ninjas,
sure,
priests, an exorcism. Yeah.
Hookers. Don't forget hookers.
Yeah, hooker. Yeah, No, she was a hooker doctor lawyer.
That's right. She was hooking her way through college.
To become a doctor lawyer.
Yeah.
I found that very, very entertaining. I made my wife watch this with me.
Oh yeah.
She made it about 3/4 through, and she just looked at me and she said, "I'm going to be brain dead if I continue this. I can't."
The hilarious thing about that is it's like only an hour long.
Yeah, it's an hour and 10 minutes, and it was like, and what was funny is, not to jump too far ahead, is the whole where they're in bed together, and you find out that she's also a ninja, and the ninjas come through the window. And right before that, I was like, I had paused it because she was going to bed. I went, this has only got 20 minutes left, and I have no idea where this is going.
Yeah, this thing was shot on a budget of $35,000 and looks every bit of shot on a budget of $35,000.
And I don't even know that the budget was $35,000, which I will give the I will point this out. I got to give a shout out to my wife, Amber, who at the first transformation, when they go back to the park to find the dead body, she called it out. She says, "Why is he wearing the girl from Scooby-Doo's dress?" And I started laughing because I didn't realize it. And then she goes, "You know what? He'd be a really cute cross-dresser. He's got nice legs." And she had me cackling, laughing. So it was fun.
So I'm gonna go behind the curtain here, show people how the sausage is made. So there are certain dedicated podcasts and podcast hosts on this network. People have their assignments. There are passion projects that come up. People will come to me and say, "I want to do this. I want to do this." There are things that I think we need to talk about, and people will either volunteer or I will beg, plead, and prod. In the case of Warrior Nun on Netflix, which is out now, there was zero interest in this show, and I don't blame people for that, but I felt like it was something we needed to talk about. And when all of the above doesn't work, I will barter with people. I will bargain with them. And you, sir, you said, "I will do Warrior Nun if you do VelociPastor." So I know you're blaming Jesse for this, but when you I have to ask, when you said, "Hey, I want to do this show, I want to talk about this show with you," had you actually seen this monstrosity yet?
I watched. Now I'm gonna peek behind the curtain. I watched. Now, did you see the finished version or the version I got to see?
I got I don't know what version you're talking about. I watched whatever was on Amazon.
Okay, so you seen the unfinished one. That 2 minutes in, when his parents blow up, it displays in context text.
Yeah, visual effects needed, which I thought was funny and was supposed to be a gag.
No, that was the unfinished. There was actually supposed to be visual effects added there, and there wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's another version of this where they actually have the visual effects.
Yeah, and I hear that this is the better version. So I made it to about right there, and I couldn't stop laughing. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I can push through this. So then when you got to talking, and you was like, you want to see somebody with weird, I was like, all right. I was like, I'll bite. I'll hop on this hand grenade. Nobody else wants to, but I'm bringing Mark down with me. So we're gonna go on this roller coaster ride to hell together. And again, I must say I'm sorry.
Now, do you typically enjoy a good Roger Corman B-movie classic? I think you also pitched me Zombie Tidal Wave, which I was definitely more up for.
Yes, actually, Zombie Tidal Wave was a project that me and my daughter actually watched together, and we pulled my wife in. My daughter Kenzie, she seen the preview and she just said that just looks stupid. She's like, and I was like, "You want to watch it?" She's like, "Sure." And me and her got to watch it, so I was like, "All right." So yeah, I mean, I just there's just sometimes I just want to watch a good cheesy movie that I don't have to think about, that I can just sit and just be like, enjoy put everything out of my mind, don't have a really complex plot. But this one made you think, because it was all over the damn place. It was like me on 20 Red Bulls with ADHD and no Ritalin medicine.
Yeah.
I was there was no central plot line. It was all over the place. It was actually chaos. It's kind of what I think. This movie personifies you putting a schedule together.
No, my schedules have order. This, all right.
This movie had order, But then I think about halfway through it, it went to hell in a handbasket, and it just exploded like the girl on the Tripmont. And we will get to that because I must talk about that part of the movie.
So let me say this, and then I'm going to read the plot synopsis, and then we'll talk about this movie. I don't want to belabor the point. This is not heavy cinema here. Look, I too am a fan of the B-movie classics. I'm from the school of Roger Corman. I enjoy that stuff. You know, not everything has to be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's fine. Here's the thing, though. What made the B-movie classics for me, and the nudie cuties and the 80s hard body movies, as stupid as those were. But hey, if you like tits, and I like tits, the 80s hard body movies are great movies, is that there was an earnestness about them. Like, if you think about like the Pam Grier blaxploitation 70s movies, they were not, I mean, maybe Dolomite had its silly moments, but they were in earnest trying to make a film. Now, the fact that they come off as silly is kind of their charm. So, you know, like a movie like Zombie Tidal Wave being, you know, I'm bringing that up a lot because that's one that we did most recently. We did that late last year. Everybody going into it knows that it's a silly premise. And so they're having fun with it, but they are, in fact, acting and shooting and editing a movie. And they're taking it seriously, as silly as it is, which I kind of enjoy. Like I said, that's charming. Here's my struggle with the VelociPastor. I can't tell if this is making fun of B-movies or this is an earnest attempt at one, because it doesn't break the fourth wall, but there are times, like I honestly thought the VFX bit was a gag. Now, you're telling me it's not, and it just somehow made it to streaming with that missing effect in there. Okay, sure. But there's other parts of this where I swear to God, I feel like they're just winking at the camera. And so my struggle with this movie is I'm okay with the silly premise. I'm okay with bad acting. I'm okay with bad effects. What I'm not okay with, and where I had a hard time with this movie at times, and I don't know if you understand what I mean by this, but it just felt like the movie knows it's silly, and the movie itself isn't taking itself seriously. And it's like, it's almost like a meta experience of the B-movie variety. And I kept thinking, like, am I supposed to... Like, again, I can accept a silly premise and go with it, but you have to go with it too. And I felt at times the movie itself wasn't going with it. It was almost like an Airplane or a Mel Brooks parody where everyone's winking at the camera at one point or another. Which, again, if that's what you started off with, that'd be one thing. But they started off with, like, a real movie, and then it got a lot of winky, and then I was like, I don't know what it is I'm watching anymore. Now this just feels like, and I think this sums it up real nicely, this movie felt like an SNL sketch that wouldn't end.
Yeah, I can see that. I really think the premise of this movie, I think that this looks like somebody's final film school project.
Oh, no. This is worse than film school.
No, bear with me. It was their film school, somebody's final film school project that they waited to do last minute. that they had to. It was due Monday morning, and they shot it on a Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so have you ever done, like, I don't know how much acting you've done in your life, but I've done a fair bit of it myself, at least, you know, in school and somewhat semi-professionally. And there's an improv technique, there's an improv thing that you can do where someone starts a story. There's also like an icebreaker. Someone starts a story, and then the next person picks up that story, and then the next person picks up that story. And the story can go in any direction, but you have to keep the narrative going. That's how this feels like it was made. Like, someone started shooting it, got about 10 minutes in, locked 10 minutes of footage, and was like, and just handed the camera to whoever was standing to the immediate right of them. And then they shot stuff.
Hey, I just so you know, I do have I am on IMDb, so yeah, I've done acting once.
Okay.
I am in a movie, and I'm proud of my IMDb page.
Very good.
Jesse Starcher also has an entry on the same IMDb page. So
What are you in?
we was in the same film. It's a documentary about indie wrestling called Marking Out, made by some friends of ours up in the Marietta, Parkersburg area. So it's a good film. Got a lot of familiar faces on the independent wrestling scene at the time. You'd enjoy it.
Sure.
But this really seems. I think that this was more or less a Mad Lib. It was like, okay, just it's one of those people. Like I said, it feels like it's a stoner. Somebody got really high and needed to finish a project by Monday morning, and they started shooting late in the afternoon on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're a fly on the wall, there was a lot of. What about ninjas? Okay, what if the hook is a ninja too? All right,
Oh God! And what if the priest has a patch like in Kill Bill? Make him a badass.
All right, so the synopsis and this bearish threat of a plot. After losing his parents, Pastor Doug Jones travels to China and becomes infected by an artifact, resulting in him turning into a velociraptor when he becomes angry like the Hulk. At first horrified by his new power, on the direction of a prostitute, he decides to fight crime and kill criminals, including drug-dealing ninjas, by using his transformation. During his mission, the pastor travels the world. Okay. I don't even know where to begin with this.
The bad thing about it, that sounds more of a coherent thought than the movie actually was.
Well, let's break this down. So Act 1, right? We have Doug Jones, who watches his parents get killed in a car fire, or a missing VFX.
Missing VFX fire.
Yeah. He goes to his higher authority, his higher priest, and says, I am losing my faith. I don't know what to do. And his priest advised him, go to a place where God can't follow. And if you find God, or God finds you after that, then you know that God is there for you. Something along those lines. It was basically, go see the world, you'll find God. So he goes to China.
No, he drives to China.
Sure.
Did you not notice that? It shows him driving to China.
Okay.
And he backs up into a wilderness then it says China.
I assume he flew to China, and that was the last part of him driving around in China. Or, sure, he drove over the land bridge. It's fine. Either way, he's in China. And as he's making his way around the woods, like you do, the great woods of China, there's a woman who seems to be running in a gi of some sort, and she's got an artifact in her hand, and she's shot in the back by a ninja. And here's what I mean. It's called a comedy horror action film, but no one seemed to know what they wanted this movie to be. And considering it was written and directed by the same guy, I'm pretty sure he didn't know what he wanted it to be. Either way, she's shot in the back and run through with an arrow, and her dying words are, take this artifact and get out of here. And Doug, our hero, says to her, are you hurt? She's run through with an arrow. It went into her back and through her chest, and blood is flying out of her mouth. And Doug says, are you injured? So he is now being shot at by ninjas, and he runs into a thicket and cuts himself, and the artifact touches the open wound, and that's all for him in China. He decides to go back home. Now, separately from all this, we meet Carol the hooker and her pimp, And what's the pimp's name, Jason?
Yeah, I've already forgot.
Frankie Mermaid.
I knew it was Mermaid because he's swimming in bitches.
Yeah, I need to use that more often.
You know who that reminded me of? Honestly, when I first saw it, I thought it was Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, so did I.
And I was like, no, this can't be.
Well, I mean, considering this is shot like most porns are shot, I kept waiting for it to go down that road. But anyway, so Frankie Mermaid, who's swimming in bitches, sends Carol the hooker to the park to go get some Johns, and she is accosted by a mugger, and Doug is there, and Doug saves her when he hulks out and becomes a dinosaur and eats the mugger.
The mannequin head that flies across the screen. Yeah. That is clearly a mannequin head. Not even trying to... This happens again at the end of the movie.
Yes.
Doesn't even try to disguise it.
See,
Al Snow and head.
And that's my struggle with this movie. Like, they use kind of a Jaws effect, believe it or not, with this, where they try to hide as much of the dinosaur as they can, because when you finally see the dinosaur in the last scene of the movie, it's clearly... Like, have you seen TikToks or Facebook videos of people running around in a dinosaur costume?
Yeah. And that dinosaur costume would have been better than what we got. I would have liked that the inflatable dinosaur costume. If they would have showed that the T-Rex, I would have been happier.
Yeah, this one kind of looked like the same thing, but it was not inflated.
This wouldn't look like all my hopes and dreams very deflated.
So as not to give away the big surprise ending with how this thing looks, again, they do kind of a Jaws routine where at first you only see the dinosaur like in profile, and then the rest of it is just quick cuts and and quick movements with the camera of the guy being massacred by this dinosaur. So he wakes up the next day, and they do a bit of a Three's Company thing where he thinks he slept with the hooker, and the hooker is like, is trying to tell him, no, you killed a mugger is what happened. And she convinces him throughout this conversation to continue killing muggers and other bad people. And, okay, so far, kind of a fun premise. You have a man of the cloth, a man who's dedicated himself to peace and chastity, who by night is going to go around murdering people as a dinosaur.
Who is a vigilante raptor.
Right.
Basically, he is the dinosaur version of Batman.
Yeah, I'm with the movie at this point. Even though it's a little schizophrenic, at least there's a central theme and a plot here that I can buy into. And at this point, I wasn't having that hard of a time with the movie.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, okay, it's very tongue in cheek. I'm getting laughs and everything, mm-hmm. And then the curtain gets pulled away, and we get introduced to.
Well, before that, so he goes back to he starts this nighttime vigilante routine, vigilante dinosaur, and as in like Fight Club, he's showing up to work late or not at all. There's his pastor, his priest, Father Stewart, who was played by Daniel Steer, who I guess is related to the director of this, whose name is Brandon. He's like, I don't know what you've been doing, but you're not coming to work when you're supposed to. You need to go be doing confessions. So he takes confession, and who should walk into the confessional but Frankie Mermaid, who's swimming in bitches. And this guy, just loose lips, I guess, he's very comfortable in the confessional. He's like, I'm killing all kinds of people. I'm doing all kinds of bad things. Like, there were these two people standing outside the church one day, and because I had orders, we blew them to hell. And, of course, Doug realizes he's now talking about his parents, so Doug hulks out and kills him in the confessional. Much to Carol's delight. She is now free from the pimp, Frankie the Mermaid.
Because he's swimming in bitches.
Indeed. All right, so...
See, I thought the ninjas got introduced, like it showed the ninjas, like the quick intro of the ninja, the head ninja for a second, as like a transition. I might be remembering it wrong, but
in the plot synopsis, the next thing that happens is we get the Father Stewart flashback. So Father Stewart, over a period of time, Father Stewart learns that through Doug admitting it to him, hey, he turns into a dinosaur, and he's like, you can't possibly be turning into a dinosaur. Clearly, you're possessed by a demon, so there has to be an exorcism. And now this is where we get.
We get the ninjas before they find that he does before the exorcism.
We might, but again, I'm kind of going off the plot synopsis that's on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
All right, so Father Stewart learns of Doug's new power and confronts him, trying to encourage Doug to get rid of it and stop killing. And there's an exorcism that happened, and then we learn of Father Stewart's time in the war with his buddy Ali. All right, Jason, you felt like you needed to talk about this. So he's in the war. He's overseas. He's in somewhere in Asia, presumably. Nam,
he's in
He's
in the backwoods of West Virginia. I know those trees.
I'm sure you do. They were the same trees as the beginning of the movie when they were in China.
Yes. Yes. So we have now been the same tree. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Probably the daylight version trees of the park.
Probably.
So yeah, this was. You're sitting there, and what got me on this part, it was because it is so out of context. It's like they go to do the exorcism, and then all of a sudden it cuts to a flashback of the elder priest, and you're like, what in the hell is going on?
I don't understand why we needed the priest backstory.
Yeah, it is, and then it's like he's supposed to be a nom, and it's like, okay, and you could very easily tell that these are play guns, and they've got old boy has got his sleeves cut off. I'm pretty sure that these were people I grew up with that never got out of my small town in West Virginia, and they needed money for meth or something. I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but I'm pretty sure that I know them from some point in my life or know people related to them. But it is so out of context. And then it's like the whole premise of the scene was he was talking to Doug about, he once had a lady that he cared so much about and he wanted to start a family with. And in the middle of Nam, she shows up. Runs
in like a gardening outfit.
No, this is my wife's all time. She looked at me with a really puzzled look and said, "It's that bitch Carol Baskins." And I fell off my couch.
Kind of, yeah. So this woman shows up in the middle of like a war-torn, presumably Vietnam, and she's got like a sun hat and a dress and looking very white suburbia. And first they killed Ali. After Ali was like, have 10 kids and spend 15 minutes a day with them and name one of them after me, go home and live your best life, immediately get shot. And then Carol Baskins comes running into the scene, and she runs right up to her man, who's in the middle of war-torn, who's the whole like point of the scene was, I want to get back to my woman and start my life. And she comes to him, and then proceeds to step on a mine, and is blown to smithereens. And again, we get one of these moments where somebody says, yeah, there's no way we can help her, she's too far gone. She's a puddle of blood at this point.
Yeah, she is. I don't. He looks like somebody dumped red Kool-Aid on him.
Well,
and it was. I don't know. I have no words.
I don't know. Am I supposed to laugh at that? Am I supposed to, I don't understand. In the midst of the exorcism scene, are we supposed to? Were we supposed to feel sorry for him because he's going to buy it at the end of that scene, and that's supposed to like generate sympathy for him? Like that's what I mean by like, you can have a silly premise like a priest turns into a velociraptor and kills drug dealers. I would make that movie. That sounds great. You still should follow some premise. You should still follow some degree of like elementary film craft.
Some storyline. And my issue with this, and you'll get this reference, why did they go see Father James Mitchell?
Yeah.
Is that not who that reminded you? It looked like this was the.
He looked like he showed up from a vampire LARP.
Yeah, I was thinking that is one of those people that that kind of was worked at Hot Topic when it first started.
Yeah, totally.
And then just kind of aged out and just didn't want to let go of his youth.
Yeah, he looked like an aging club goer.
Yeah.
Okay, so amidst the stupid exorcism that they do, that they felt needed to be done because he couldn't possibly be turning into a dinosaur, you get this flashback, which doesn't match the movie, makes no sense, and makes more jokes about people who are very dead, and the reaction, and like they're like a classic underreaction to it, which is at this point kind of getting old to me. So anyway, we go back to the exorcism, and he freaks out mid-exorcism, and he kills he kills Father Stewart. Okay, so. Oh, no, he doesn't kill Father Stewart. He takes his eye, is what happens.
Yeah, presumably kills him. He thinks he killed him.
Right. He thinks he killed him, but he actually just took out one of his eyes. So he goes back to Carol, and this is where this is the hot lovemaking scene, right? Was that the next thing where he finally sleeps with her? Because it's the next morning where the ninjas like tumble saw through the room.
See, and throughout the movie that you've been introduced to the ninjas, and you kind of find out because you have the really weird laugh. Did you? And
yeah. Okay, I remember. Okay, and that becomes important at the end. So anyway, the next thing that has to have happened is he goes to Carol. They have hot sex, which because of, I guess, they did not want this to be a rated X movie. You don't see anything. You don't see any boob. They have sex with their undergarments on, presumably. Yeah. So they wake up the next morning to the sound of ninjas breaking into their apartment, and suddenly Carol, who we mentioned before is a hooker doctor lawyer, is also trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Suddenly becomes Black Widow.
Yeah. So Captain America and Black Widow take out the ninjas.
And the Captain America, we can't forget. I know that I did this, and I got to give him a shout out. The whole workout montage, I'm pretty sure that they Pat Mullen inspired that.
All right, so Father Stewart wakes up in a camp of drug-dealing Christian ninjas, led by Wee Chan. Okay, so this I thought was great. So the whole reason the ninjas keep attacking the Velociraptor is the VelociPastor is he's upending their plans. What they want to do, and this is brilliant, they are trying to control the market on super cocaine.
Not just cocaine, super cocaine.
They want people to get hooked on super cocaine, but then they want them to seek treatment, and they'll come back. So the whole thing is when they want to get clean from super cocaine, they'll come to the church. So this is a wildly ridiculous plot to get people to rejoin the church. And Father Stewart's like, that's insane. That's not how to get people to seek God. You can't lead a horse to water and make him drink it. At which point they just kill Father Stewart. So, Doug and Carol are later confronted by ninjas and plan to stop Wee Chan. Doug is stopped by Sam, the white ninja, who he finds out is also his brother. So earlier in the movie, there were these flashbacks to Doug and his wonderfully Caucasian parents and just how wonderful they are. But as it turns out, there was another brother in those scenes, and they weren't paying him any attention, and they weren't loving on him. So he, of course, as you do, grew up to become a ninja. And he hates Doug. And he wants to take Doug out. So this all leads to an extended Avengers Endgame level fight scene between Wei Chan's ninjas, led by Sam, and Carol, who's gone full Black Widow at this point, wearing an all-black jumpsuit. and our hulkish VelociPastor. And they kill all the ninjas. Just fucking kill them.
Yep, just dead.
Wei Chan eventually catches up to Carol, who's taken out her fair share of ninjas, and slices her samurai style across the chest. And she begins to, like, vomit blood periodically. Now, for some reason that I could not ascertain, Wei Chan then shot the VelociPastor in the thigh, which made him turn back into a human. And then after taunting him, Doug grew back just his Velociraptor hands and ripped off his head. And again, the lack of consistency in this film had me scratching my head. Because, again, either you're just a silly premise in a silly world, and I'm with you, or you're making fun of B-movies and this is supposed to look terrible. I just struggled with it being both. Because you have this over-the-top fight scene, which ends with him clearly ripping off a mannequin head. And, like, holding it in front of the camera. So as to make no doubt he ripped off a mannequin head that was supposed to be a human being.
Yeah, and did not even try to disguise it. He makes sure that he clearly holds it in front of the camera, and it's like, and somebody was like, no, you're not supposed to do that. So you get a quick readjustment, and yeah, this movie had potential. It had potential, and then I think like we was talking. I think it went to the school of Mad Libs Improv that people just started shouting stuff out, and it was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's add it.
Yeah, this definitely fell victim to wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah. It's kind of like whose line is it anyway? Without any of the the C list, whose line is it anyway? Was the writing crew.
Early on in the movie, I was into it and I was laughing at certain things that I think I was supposed to be laughing at. By the time we got to this part of the movie, it got really tedious.
So how many times did you say "Damn it, Jason"?
Yeah. I watched it at work, and I got a phone call with about 10 to 15 minutes left of it, and the guy's like, this inmate needs you to come talk to him. I'm like, he's going to have to wait till I finish VelociPastor. I have to finish this movie.
Oh, I don't know if that's laughable or like... Yeah, we need you to come. No, I have to see this through.
Yeah, if I walked away from it with that being over, I was never going to finish it.
Yeah, you just have to rely on me to finish the end of the movie, and I probably would have done a better job than the movie actually done, because I'm pretty sure that we've done a better job covering the movie than the movie did explaining itself.
So, Carol, despite the fact that she was slashed across the chest. And she was vomiting blood, like she was geysering up blood, like Old Faithful, repeatedly. Doug, she recovers in the hospital. She makes a complete recovery. Turns out she also has a healing factor. Doug is no longer a priest. He's got a bounty on his head from the criminal empire. And
$1 billion bounty.
Yeah, and now him and Carol are going to travel the world, killing off criminals. All right, so I'm going to read the production thing here. The director thought of the idea in 2010 while he was attending the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. After his phone autocorrected Velociraptor to VelociPastor, that's funny, as a class project, Steer made a short film of fake Grindhouse trailers, which included the VelociPastor. Okay, full stop. That's funny. That's what this should have been. This should have never been a feature-length motion picture.
No.
His prior YouTube videos had around 45 views each, but his class project received around 45,000 views, resulting in him thinking that it might be a good idea for a film. Okay. Yes, you could take this concept and really do something with it. That's the real shame of this thing, Jason, is that there's bones here of a good idea. He needed another person to come in and help write the script. And there definitely needed to be an adult in the room saying, what are you trying to do with this picture? If you're trying to make fun of Roger Corman, then do that. If you're trying to just do a silly premise, but like lean into it, do that. Don't try to do both. It's confusing. So he said, the movie is made to be fun, and anybody looking for deeper meaning in the man turns into a dinosaur genre is probably on a fool's errand. Look, I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to do critical analysis here, but filmcraft is filmcraft. From 2011 to 2016, there were 2 attempts to crowdfund the film, first through Kickstarter and then through Seed and Spark, but neither attempt succeeded. The film received funding from a private investor and the mother of Steer's friend, and that the mother of Steer's friend knew. The VelociPastor was filmed with $35,000. Steer was influenced by director Guillermo del Toro. So, I don't know if you know this or not, or if you're shocked by it, but this only has a 54%, according to Rotten Tomatoes. 54, which is higher than Artemis Fowl, by the way.
I was going to say, how is that so high?
Yeah, it's higher than Artemis Fowl, which was like at 9% last time I looked.
Oh. Ugh,
yeah.
I'm just curious if this is if this has got a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than what's the movie that you and Robert despise?
Well, it's got a higher rating than X versus Sever, which had a 0.
Yeah, the romaine lettuce movie.
Oh, A Wrinkle in Time. I love the fact that people now know that as romaine lettuce.
Yeah, it's romaine lettuce movie. It doesn't even deserve. I wonder which has a higher score.
What, this or A Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah,
probably A Wrinkle in Time,
probably
because
I would say this.
We were the only people brave enough to say that movie was truly trash. Jason, I'm going to give you the last word here. We've done this. You made me do it. It's done now. Are you happy that you watched this thing and that we talked about it?
I am, because, like I said, I like coming back to my roots and getting to sit down and talk to you about absolutely trash movies that I think we should have just kind of roped Robert into watching this just so he could hate me and yell at me instead of you.
I don't want to do that to him.
But no, I am because now it's given me something to look forward to on our next get together here at the end of the month. I'm kind of stoked for it because it can only go up.
All right, you do another podcast though. You do a podcast about football called The Kickoff. I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you don't, that's fine. I've heard you've had some staff changes on The Kickoff. So who's on that show now?
Yes, we had to. We did have a come to Jesus moment, and we did have to wish someone well on their future endeavors. So it is now a 3-man show. Anybody listening to this, if you're interested and have any interest in football, hit me up on Twitter, W2M Chairman. And we are potentially looking for a 4th. We've got some guest spots open. Unfortunately, some things came up and we had to.
It became a scheduling issue. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we had to do a clientele change. Don't want to go into it. I'm not going to bury somebody. No,
I'm not asking you to bury anybody. That's what it was, though. It was just became a conflict. It became a scheduling issue.
Yeah, it became a priority issue. And it was, when you commit to something, and you do rely on somebody, when they continuously lose sight and stuff, you need to have a come to Jesus moment, and that's what happened. I mean,
Okay.
There's no hard feelings toward him or anything. I mean, I still, I haven't have no ill will toward him, but it was a decision that needed to be made, and just his focus needed to be elsewhere, and as a collective group, we came together and made the decision to make the personnel change, and so he can focus his priorities where they need to be, and we wish him the best. I mean, there's no ill will for any of us, but we do wish him the best.
Your next show, you guys going to cover them playing the Black National Anthem? Because I know a few people who that decision made them not want to watch football anymore.
There's a Black National Anthem?
Yes. I was surprised, too.
You have taught me something. I was unaware of this.
Yes, that's the big story this week, is that the first game of the NFL season, they will be playing the Black National Anthem.
Also, I have to give you a kind of a footnote, because there is going to be a new show debuting soon. It is kind of a premise that you pitched to me, but me and you have never got to do. It's going to be called the Black Irish Show. It's me and Eric Watkins, and what it is we drink and we just go down as many rabbit holes as we feel and offend as many people as we feel like doing.
Sounds great. I can't wait to hear it on the W2M network. All right, when is your next? You just recently dropped a show, a kickoff, which is on the W2M network, along with our TV Party podcast and all the rest of the Radulich and broadcasting stuff. When is your next show coming out?
We are actually recording it as soon as me and you wrap up. We're supposed to record tonight. There may be a small schedule conflict, but we're going to try to get it done tonight. But we should have a new show up. We're doing what we've dubbed the greatest of all teams. It's the greatest offensive and defensive player from every football team. We're going division by division, and we've done about 3/4 of the league so far. We've just got the West divisions and the South to cover, and we're going to start recording those soon. It's been kind of hectic with, my new schedule change and some, like I said, the personnel change. So we are going to address that, and we're going to be doing that real soon. So be on the lookout for that. And then me and Eric are going to be recording the first episode of the Black Irish podcast here within the week as well.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to that. All right. The next time Jason will be with us will be July 31st. We will be doing a TV party for the first season of Warrior Nun, currently on Netflix. In the meantime, this week, Alexis Hannah and I dropped a pair of shows. We did Batwoman Volume 1, The Many Arms of Death, and then Batwoman Season 1 with the now dearly departed Ruby Rose from the series, which will be recasted. We looked at the first season, the first 20 episodes. Jesse and I reviewed Mushroomhead, A Wonderful Life. Next week, Alexis Hannah finishes up her run on comics with us. She'll be taking a break for a few weeks. We'll be doing a source material live for Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy from 2019. And then myself and David Wright will be reviewing Harley Quinn Season 2. And then Alexis is back, her last show of the month. We will be doing the Looney Tunes series from HBO Max. We've got The Old Guard, Volume 1 on source material, July 13th. And then myself and Robert Winfrey will be looking at the movie on Netflix, which drops on July 10th, The Old Guard, with Charlize Theron. Jesse and I will be reviewing Anisferum, Thasalic, and then we're supposed to do the next chapter in boxing, the Muhammad Ali years, but Pat's been preoccupied, so I don't know if that's going to happen. In the meantime, we'll be reviewing Fighter Fest, we'll be reviewing Fight for the Fallen and Extreme Rules, the new Static X, and another new show hosted by David Wright. He wants to do all things Star Trek, and we finally figured out who was going to be on the new show, the very first show, and I volunteered, we are going to be talking about the non-Kelvin Kirk era Star Trek movies, which is the motion picture, The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, The Final Frontier, and The Undiscovered Country. I just recently rewatched all of those. They were quite a treat, let me tell you. So, all right, until Jason figures out what next garbage movie. So I say sorority slime balls from outer space. That's what I say. But, you know, whatever. Maybe Hot Dog the movie, Hamburger the movie, Ski Patrol, Ski School. So many.
I'm on board. I'm on board for any of those. I mean, I'm always up for a good movie. Because I wouldn't mind, just every so often me and you do a, what was it, Captain USA that was on that came on late night on USA Channel.
I want to pitch you on something. I don't know if you're up for it though, because I don't think this is up Sean's alley. But there was an old series of movies. Speaking of 80s hard body, I don't know who's got it these days. But do you remember in the 80s the Porky's movies?
Yes, I remember Porky's.
I don't remember how many there were.
I think there was 3.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking at it now. There was Porky's in 1981, Porky's 2 the next day, and then Porky's 3, The Revenge. I feel like we need to do a Long Road to Ruin on these Porky's movies.
Hey, I think I could do that.
All right.
I think I could probably do it. What? Okay. Yeah. I think that there needs to be an American Pie Long Road to Ruin as well. Somewhere down the line.
Somewhere down the line, maybe. But I'd rather do I'd rather do the movies that inspired American Pie first. So, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we could build up to that. I think we could possibly work something out and do a Long Road to Ruin on Porky's. All
right, we'll get it scheduled one of these days once I figure out where I can find all these movies, and I'll let you know, and we'll get it done.
I think they're all. I think you can get them all on Prime.
I'd have to look again. I know for sure they're on Apple, but they're for rental or whatever. I'd buy them. That's what a pervert I am. I'd buy the Porky's movies. All right, Jason, we'll get this scheduled. We'll get it figured out. You know, you've been haunting me to do more shows, and I could absolutely, do this type of stuff with you. So that's fine. We'll get it scheduled. We'll get it done. In the meantime, in between time, this has been TV Party Tonight for Jason Tzley, the high priest of the hoi polloi, the prodigal son. Be well, be safe, and behave.